Have you ever stopped to wonder why you pick one brand over another, even when the products look almost exactly the same? It's really not an accident. It's a very deliberate strategy, and to get it, we've got to peel back the layers of what a product even is.
Think about a brand like Lexus. Their entire reputation is built on one single promise: the relentless pursuit of perfection. And that promise, it isn't just in the car. It's in the whole dealership experience, the service you get, every single tiny detail.
So that leads to a pretty big question, right? When you buy a car or a phone or even book a hotel room, what are you actually buying? Well, the answer is a little more complicated than you might think. At the end of the day, it all comes down to product strategy. And to really understand it, we need to completely rewire how we think about a product. It's not just one thing. It's more like a series of layers, and each layer adds more and more value for you, the customer. This brings us to a super useful framework. It's called the Customer Value Hierarchy. The best way to think about it is like the DNA of a product, and it's broken down into 5 distinct layers. This quote just nails it. It perfectly captures that first, most fundamental layer. You don't go out and buy a drill because you want a drill. No way. You buy it because you want a hole in your wall. That's the core benefit.
Okay, let's break this down using a hotel room. At its heart, the core benefit you're buying is super simple: rest and sleep. The basic product that gets you that is, well, a room with a bed. But you have expectations, right? Of course you do. That's the expected product. You just assume you're going to get a clean bed and some fresh towels. Now this is where it gets really interesting. The augmented product is what makes you choose one hotel over another. It's all the stuff that goes beyond your expectations, like a huge TV or great Wi-Fi. And finally, you have the potential product. That's all the cool stuff the hotel could possibly do in the future to keep you coming back for more.
And this right here is the key takeaway. In the world we live in today, the real competition happens at that augmented level. Once every hotel offers a clean bed, brands have to fight tooth and nail to win you over with those extras. That is where brand loyalty is won and where it's lost.
So if the game is really won in that augmented layer, the million-dollar question for any company is, how do you differentiate? How do you make your product pop in a sea of lookalikes? Well, companies have a whole toolbox of ways to do this. They can play with the form. Think of a uniquely shaped bottle. They can load it up with features. They can compete on pure performance quality. Or they can promise that it's got superior durability and reliability. And of course, there's always style, making a product just look and feel incredible.
Let's talk performance quality. When Mercedes-Benz felt like its top-notch reputation was slipping, they didn't just make a few small changes. Nope, they went all in. They tripled their prototype testing to a jaw-dropping 3 million miles before a single car went into production. Now that's how you reclaim your edge.
And then there's the sheer power of design. And I mean the total package. How a product looks, how it feels, how it works. Brands like Herman Miller have proven time and again that exceptional design can create such a strong emotional pull that a premium price tag feels, well, completely justified.
Customization is another total game changer. And LEGO, they've been masters of this for decades. They really pioneered this idea of mass customization, letting every single person create something unique, but on a massive scale. You're not just a customer anymore, you're a co-creator.
But what happens when you can't really differentiate the physical product anymore? What do you do then? That's when the competitive advantage shifts to something just as important: service.
And there are so many ways to compete on service. It can be something as simple as ordering ease. Just think about one-click checkout. Or it could be the speed and reliability of the delivery. But it also goes deeper to things like installation, customer training, and ongoing maintenance. A lot of the time, these are the real tiebreakers.
All right, so now let's see how all these ideas play out in one of the most interesting arenas of all, the world of luxury. This is where brands aren't just selling products, they're selling a dream. For so many of the world's top brands, luxury is built on these 4 pillars. They can command that premium price by weaving this incredible story of timeless craftsmanship and authentic history. The promise they're making is that you're not just buying an object, you're buying a piece of a legacy.
But what if you don't have a century of history to draw on? Well, you can manufacture it. And Patrón Tequila is an absolute masterclass in this. They launched in 1989, but they crafted a luxury image from day one, using details like hand-blown, numbered bottles to create a sense of heritage where, there wasn't one before. They didn't just join a market, they basically created a whole new one.
Luxury brands also get that they're selling more than a product. They're selling a dream, an experience.
Porsche doesn't just sell you a car. They invite you to their sport driving schools so you can feel the full power of the brand. It makes customers feel like they're part of this exclusive club.
Now, these individual product decisions, they don't happen in a vacuum. To really see the full picture, we need to zoom out and look at how they all fit into a company's big picture strategy. This means we need to understand the difference between a product line, that's a group of related items, like all of Michelin's different tires, and the product mix. The mix, well, that's the whole shebang. For Michelin, that's not just tires, but also their maps and even their famous restaurant guides.
And today, that bigger picture strategy has to deal with one of the most critical issues we all face: environmental impact. It's just not optional anymore. It's a core part of how products get judged.
I mean, just look at bottled water. Every year, we're talking about 2.7 million tons of plastic and 47 million gallons of oil just to make the bottles. And in the US, fewer than 20% of them ever even get recycled. The product itself creates this absolutely massive problem.
But every challenge creates an opportunity. This exact problem is what fueled the explosive growth of brands like SIG. By offering a stylish, reusable product, they didn't just sell a bottle, they sold a solution. They turned a massive social issue into their most powerful point of differentiation. It's brilliant.
So, the next time you go to make a choice, doesn't matter if it's a car, a coffee, or a new piece of tech, ask yourself, beyond the basic product, what layers of value are you really seeing? What's the core benefit you're after? And what promise are you really buying into?